A blonde with slightly curly hair, dazzling white skin, a thin waist, and slender legs, had a lot of audacity. Martha Gellhorn was born into a family of a gynecologist and an ardent suffragist who fought for women's rights. The girl had 3 brothers and grew up a tomboy. Since childhood, Marta has been writing poetry and short stories. After school, she enrolled in a prestigious educational institution, Bryn Mawr College, but after studying for a year, she dropped out and fled to Paris. Bohemian Paris of the 30s welcomed Martha with open arms. The French appreciated the charm of a young American woman from St. Louis. The girl was offered a job at the glamorous Vogue modeling agency. She did not like the work of the model. Stand up like that, smile, bend your back, put your leg aside. She soon got fed up with it. After quitting her modeling job, Martha got a job at United Press International as a reporter. At the same time, her first affair happened with the famous journalist and philosopher Marquis Bertrand de Juvenal. Charming, handsome Bertrand, on whose bait Martha fell, took her by praising her mediocre first novel. She believed and fell in love with all the fervor. Passions were raging and the lovers were going to get married. But it turned out that Bertrand was married, and his wife refused to give him a divorce. Pregnant Martha decided to have an abortion and put an end to the relationship. Concerned about her daughter's fate, her parents demanded her immediate return home. The dissolute daughter had to be urgently rescued, and Martha's mother wrote a letter to her classmate Eleanor Roosevelt, the president's wife. With her help, Martha was hired as a columnist for the Federal Emergency Relief Organization. The girl clearly had a journalistic talent. On behalf of the presidential administration, Martha traveled to cities in the United States and wrote a number of essays about the consequences of the Great Depression for different segments of the population. The results of her observations were presented not only in articles, but also in the book The Disaster I Saw, which were highly appreciated by reviewers. One day, walking into the Sloppy Joe's bar in Florida with her brother, 28-year-old Martha noticed that a large, dark-haired, slightly drunk man with a strong chin in a greasy shirt was staring at her with all his eyes. She had no idea that this was the famous and beloved writer Ernest Hemingway. In an effort to attract the attention of a leggy blonde, Hemingway came up with a trump card. "If I buy you a drink, I won't have to fight with your husband. I'm going to Spain soon to fight and make a film about the war with a friend." The girl with the appearance of a Hollywood star answered without hesitation, "I will definitely go to Spain. And I don't have a husband, this is my brother." After finishing her drink, Martha paid and left, leaving the astonished writer alone. She was the daughter of the famous Edna Gellhorn, who devoted her life to fighting for women's rights, so Hemingway's uncomplicated tackles did not flatter her at all. Hemingway liked to talk about how he fell in love with her slender legs first, and only then with her. At home, Martha took a backpack, $50, a war correspondent certificate she had begged from friends, and set off on the road. The next meeting between Martha and Ernest also took place in Florida. The hotel in Madrid was called Florida. It was simply teeming with military officers from all countries. Their love began in Spain on fire. Martha saw Ham in a military uniform, and her heart began to beat faster. She noticed that the passionate affair, which began during the bombing, gave an incomparable sense of danger, extreme sharpness. Lots of whiskey, lots of sex, and love. Hemingway supported Martha, and she saw him as a teacher and admired his courage. However, Ernest was also captivated by the courage of his new lover. He criticized her quite harshly for the helpless first reports, which he called pink snot. Martha gradually honed her skills, and her articles about the horrors of war became biting, recognizable. It turned out that this difficult and terrible job was the only one that was for her. She didn't want to do anything else, just show humanity a mirror that reflected its madness. After returning from Spain, the lovers decided not to part, but there was one obstacle. The situation in Martha's life repeated itself. Ham was married, and his wife Pauline did not give a divorce and threatened to commit suicide. Hemingway bought a luxury villa, Finca Vigia, in Cuba and dreamed that he and Martha would live as a family. The writer's divorce lasted a long time. Martha and Ernest were able to get married only in December 1940. Gellhorn was called Hemingway in a skirt at the beginning of their marriage. It turned out that Ham liked idleness. He enjoyed going out to sea on his yacht Pilar, fishing, hunting, having gatherings with friends, and in the mornings he wrote a novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls, dedicated to Martha. Hemingway at war and Hemingway in a prosperous, peaceful life were generally two different people. Martha was worried. Basking in the sun and sleeping in a luxurious bed was so boring. She was growing flowers and couldn't find a place for herself. When Martha flew to Europe, where World War II was raging, Hemingway got terribly angry and shot all her flowers in the garden. Ernest complained to friends. She is the most ambitious woman who has ever lived on Earth. A quiet family life did not work out. Martha went to Helsinki, where the Soviet-Finnish War was going on, then to China, where Japan invaded. She wrote talented reports, and Ham got gloomy and drank. Because of Martha's constant travels, Hemingway issued an ultimatum. Either you are a correspondent in this war or a woman in my bed. Martha did not want to be a housewife. She could not bear to live peacefully with Ham. He turned out to be a slob, a lover of fighting, and did not dry out from drinking with friends. Ernest thought there was nothing better than a Bloody Mary for breakfast. Their family life lasted 5 years. Two strong personalities could not get along under the same roof. Gellhorn turned out to be the only woman who left Hemingway on her own and filed for divorce without waiting for him to leave her. According to the laws of Cuba, all property remains to the abandoned spouse, and Hemingway did not give Martha either her typewriter or his gifts. He didn't want to let her go. Attempts to bring Martha back were radical in nature. Hemingway brought an army of his fans from the Allied forces to a meeting with Gellhorn in newly liberated Paris and began threatening his wife with a pistol, saying that he would rather kill her than divorce her. Robert Capa came to Gellhorn's defense. Once a close friend of Hemingway, Capa was immediately declared a traitor, received a bottle of champagne on the head, and never spoke to Ham again. Reconciliation did not happen. Ham marries blonde and journalist Mary Welsh. A few years after her divorce from Hemingway, Martha will make another attempt to be happy. She will adopt a 1.5-year-old boy, buy a house on the ocean. It won't bring harmony to her life. She will also, like Ham, start drinking black, become a regular at local bars. One day she will be afraid. Where is she going? Then she will accept the offer and marry her old admirer, Times editor-in-chief Thomas Stanley Matthews. She will try herself as a wife and an exemplary mother of 2 children. Thomas had a son from his first marriage. This will require Martha to mobilize all her forces, and in a year she will be crying in the psychiatrist's office, repeating that she is ready to kill her children and her husband. Thomas will get tired of such a life, and the couple will divorce. Martha will try to settle down more than once. He will buy 19 houses in different places of the planet. He will arrange them to his taste, but he will not live in any of them for several weeks. It's the same with my personal life. Until old age, she will keep a slim figure, remaining in the same weight all her life, 52 kilograms. Random meetings, bars, whiskey, cigarettes, motels, and again, endless rows of war. During her 60-year career in journalism, Gellhorn has not lost her sense of compassion for the victims of conflicts, reminding her readers that the fate of real people is hidden behind combat statistics. Her reports on the liberation of Dachau shocked the whole world. Martha turned 81 the last time she worked as a war correspondent. Panama was the last of Martha Gellhorn's wars. In America, a postage stamp was issued in honor of Martha, and an annual award for journalists was established. After learning that she was terminally ill and the disease was about to defeat her, Martha took a shower, put on a beautiful set of clothes, made clean bed linen, turned on her favorite music, and swallowed a cyanide capsule. It happened on February 15, 1998. She was 89 years old. Martha was officially included in the top 5 journalists who had the greatest impact on the development of American society in the 20th century.